The day some of you have possibly been dreading or maybe looking forward to, because I feel like this fan base is split down the middle on what they want Denver to do today, is finally here. The NFL trade deadline has arrived. It will be all over at 2 p.m. Mountain Time, 4 p.m. Eastern. So what will Sean Payton do or not do today? Well, we're going to talk about the latest rumblings coming out of Mile High in terms of Jerry Jeudy and potentially Denver being low-key buyers at the NFL trade deadline. But what I want to know is, what would you do if you were in charge? We're going to talk about Jerry Jeudy and all that stuff, but take this as an opportunity to put the headset on, be a comment section warrior, and let me know what you would do if you were in charge of the Denver Broncos. Now, let's get started with Jerry Jeudy and the latest on him. So, he has been a hot topic name for the last month or so, and Denver said, or Sean Payton said yesterday, that the Broncos are not remotely shopping anyone. To me, that translates to, we're not going to initiate any phone calls, but if we get a phone call, well, we'll listen, we'll pick up the phone, but it better be a great offer. Because we're not dying to move Jerry Jeudy or Courtland Sutton or any of our other key players. However, every man's got a price. And if we get an offer, not even like an offer we can't refuse, but if we get a really good offer at 3 and 5, Denver should be considering that heavily. Now, Mike Florio recently put this out into the universe where he says, per a league source, the Broncos have a good offer in hand for receiver Jerry Jeudy, but the Broncos don't like the offer that has been made for Jeudy to date. If you can get a first-round pick for Jerry Jeudy, I think you should do it. This is not me saying what I believe Denver will not do. This is me, Matthew Peterson, the host of the Broncos Breakdown channel, saying if you can get a first for Jerry Jeudy, take it and run. Because the Jerry Jeudy experience is the most polarizing thing. Jerry Jeudy is kind of like just a bad relationship, it feels like. When you're out, just when you're ready to move on, come back home, they bring chocolates, they take you out to dinner, and they lure you back in, and you go and tell all your friends, no, it's different now, Jeudy's a good guy. I mean, 1 touchdown through 7 games this year, but of course it comes right before the trade deadline, which gives everyone a little bit of a taste of a little sniff right there of maybe Jeudy can be the guy. Maybe he can be that first round selection that Denver was craving when it looks for a new wide receiver core between him, Courtland Sutton, and Tim Patrick. I kind of forgot about Tim Patrick, damn it. But ultimately, if you can get a first rounder for Jerry Jeudy, I would take it. Go into next year's draft knowing that you're 3 and 5 right now. You're probably a few pieces away from really being contenders in the AFC. I understand that win against Kansas City might change some people's minds, but I watched this team start 1 and 5. I can't let 2 wins all of a sudden eliminate and erase everything I watched for the first 6 weeks of the season. I refuse to be that big of a prisoner of the moment. Now, before we get on to the rest of the trade coverage today, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I don't want you to miss a thing, so if you're subscribed, then you're staying alive. We're almost at 20,000 subscribers. It's crazy to see how much this channel has grown lately, so hop aboard if you are not already. Now, let's talk about Denver just in general here. 3 and 5 record. Their remaining strength of schedule is 18th, so they're kind of right in the middle of the pack. They don't have an absolute cakewalk left. They have 2 games against the Chargers, but they've got games that looked really scary at the start of the year, like the Bills game and the Vikings game the next 2 weeks, maybe looking a bit more, digestible. And all of a sudden, Denver thinks they could have a path to 500 ball. And if you're 5 and 5, you are very much in the thick of things here. Now, they have got plenty of draft ammunition to use up if they plenty is a strong word. They've got a good amount. They got a first, they've got a third, they've got a fourth, they've got 2 fifths. So they have some picks they could use if they wanted to go out and make a trade for, say, an edge rusher or a defensive line, because Zach Allen is the only one really giving a damn on this defensive line, or maybe cornerback. But before we get to all that, today's show is being supported by our friends over at Prize Picks. If you don't know, Prize Picks is a daily fantasy sports app where all you have to do is pick more or less for 2 to 6 player stat projections, and you can win up to 25 times your money on any entry. Now, if you want to put some dough down, say on the Germany game this Sunday morning, I like the less on Tua Tagovailoa at 286.5 passing yards. I feel like this is just going to become the Tyreek Hill Bowl, and maybe Tua gets tunnel vision and only looks to number 10. So I kind of like the less on that. I also like the more on Patrick Mahomes because, well, after the Broncos win, you know he's going to come out with a vengeance. He's going to want to bounce back. So I'll take the more on that one, 295.5. So whatever your selections are, you can ride with me, you can fade me, but go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. The link for that is in the comments and description of today's video. Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy. I want to talk just general NFL trade rumors for a moment now and see how that ties in with the Denver Broncos. So Jeremy Fowler tweeted out late last night that Bears cornerback Jaylon Johnson has requested a trade per source. Chicago granted permission to search for a new home before today's trade deadline. The player and team negotiated a new contract last week but couldn't come close to a deal. So a talented corner is now available. Will Denver pick up the phone and kick the tires on Jaylon Johnson to try and form the best cornerback duo in the National Football League with Pat Surtain and Jaylon Johnson? I mean, Pat Surtain by himself, with anyone else on the other side, is going to be a top 10 duo because of what Surtain can do. But add in Jaylon Johnson, a guy this year who has already picked off 2 passes, completion percentage at 50, quarterback rating is 37.3 when targeted. He is an extremely talented cornerback. In fact, if we take a closer look at his 2023 stats, 120 yards allowed, 1 touchdown only in coverage, 2 interceptions like we just talked about, and 4 pass breakups. If you don't know Jaylon Johnson, he's one of the up-and-coming defensive backs in the league. The only knock against him is a lack of availability. A former second-round pick by the Bears has yet to play a full season. So there is a little bit of a gamble of, do you want to give a contract out and have him not be available, knowing for a good chunk of the year, it feels like every single season. Now, Denver has a CB2 issue. Damari Mathis is not it. He's not, right? He got benched 2 weeks ago. He is not a starting cornerback moving forward. Fabian Moreau has filled in the next 2 weeks, or the last 2 weeks, because it's the next man up mentality, right? He's the only other guy on the roster that can really step into that role because evidently Riley Moss is the worst cornerback in practice because he's not even active on game days anymore. So knowing that you've got one bad corner and one just not bad, but just not great, he's just lucky to be better than Damari Mathis corner, maybe Sean Payton decides, hey, I want to win now. This team is 3-5. So if you are looking to win now and you want to really tighten up this defense, and the last loose screw I would say is CB2, I wouldn't be blown away if the Broncos at least picked up the phone and asked what it would cost to get Jaylon Johnson. The biggest hurdle would be the reason why Jaylon Johnson might be traded is because him and the Bears can't come to an agreement on a contract extension. Well, Denver's going to make Pat Surtain the highest paid cornerback in NFL history at the end of this season. Make no mistake about that. So do they have deep enough pockets to pay him and Jaylon Johnson? That might be too much going out the door. Now, let's say Denver wants to look at edge for a moment right now because they moved on from Randy Gregory and Frank Clark. They just got Baron Browning back, but it's a bit of a committee position right now, and maybe they decide, you know what? We're missing one last true edge rusher to push this team over the edge. Danielle Hunter has been a popular name, although I think Minnesota wants a first for him, and I do not, NOT, Borat style, not want Denver to give up a first for anyone right now at 3-5. Now, the 2 Washington edge rushers have attracted the most attention so far leading up to the NFL trade deadline, and with Sean Payton, you can never rule out a phone call at least being made, especially with this Broncos ownership backing and writing blank checks saying whatever needs to get done to have this team turned around, you have our blessing. Go get it done. So now that the Broncos have won 2 in a row, should they low-key flip the script and become buyers? Like, does Denver think, you know what? We just beat the Packers at home. Can't brag too much about that. But we took down the Chiefs. Right? We took down the team to beat in the AFC. We can play with the big dogs. Let's go out and win right now, and let's be buyers. Do you think that's a path the Broncos should go down? Personally, no, I do not. You are 3-5. You are what your record says you are. And I know this is not a fun rah-rah speech of, yeah, go all in, be buyers, because being buyers is 10 times more fun than being sellers. But if you go out and you're buyers, and this team finishes 8-9 and misses the postseason and goes into the draft with no second rounder that belongs to the Saints and no third rounder because you traded that for a 1-year rental player and only having one pick in the first 2 days of the draft after an 8-9 season, that's going to make a retool, rebuild, whatever you want to call it, a hell of a lot more difficult. So no, I am not interested in trading picks away. And I maintain the stance of, if you get good offers for Jerry Jeudy or Courtland Sutton, what's that? Montez Sweat to the Bears. Okay, so how about that? Some live breaking news while we're filming. Montez Sweat to the Bears. He's not going to the Broncos. We can cross that off our Sudoku list. With that being said, though, Chase Young. Could Chase Young be on the move next? What a transition. That was actually next up in the script, too. If you want one exception to what I just said is, if you're going to make a trade for a guy, maybe like Chase Young, who's got a really high ceiling, went second overall, and you could get him for a third-round pick, probably cost you a little bit more than that. If you truly believe that's a guy worthy of an extension and someone who can be here for the next 4 to 5 years, I can stomach it a little bit because Chase Young is probably going to be better than whatever pick you have in the third round, whichever guy you get, but you can't miss on that. Like, you got to hit this dead center field 450 yards. So I have my nerves. I have my, hesitations about going out and trading for anyone right now. All right, that's going to do it for us on today's show. Montez Sweat is not coming to the Broncos. I didn't think he would be anyway. All right, we'll see you guys later with more Broncos trade coverage.